Hello, we are Team 12G Puzzles, and we will be competing in the high school division. I'm Christopher, and I'm a freshman, and I design and build, and this is my first year on the team.
I'm Akash, I'm a freshman. I build and program, and this is my first year on the team.
I'm Matthew, I'm a junior. I'm the head programmer and captain, and this is my third year on the team.
I'm Arjun, I'm a junior, and I drive and build, and this is my third year on the team.
I'm Akshay, I'm a sophomore. I do the notebook, and I design, and this is my fifth year on the team.
So going into the robot, the hardest thing when building the robot was making sure everything works perfectly together. Since this is such a complicated game, we have 5 different subsystems on our robot. So just figuring out the specific spacing and just getting everything to line up perfectly to get the code to line up perfectly with the mobile goal was the hardest thing when building the robot.
So with these subsystems, our goal was to be well-rounded, and we did this with our motor distribution. We have 6 motors on our drive base, and this allows us to play offense and defense. So if we need to stack, we can go stack, but we can also play defense or counter the defensive bots that have a lot of power.
So despite the many strengths of our robot, there are a few different aspects of it that could be improved. One such example is the width of our robot. And the problem with this is that it's a little bit too wide, and what this does is when driving in autonomous programs, it creates inconsistencies when hitting the cones, which further messes up the orientation of the drive base of the robot. Another such example is the speed and torque of our lift, and what we have right now is a 1:7 gear ratio on the lift, and we could have a 1:5 gear ratio, which would allow for less unnecessary torque but more speed, which would create more efficient stacking.
Our drive base is a 6-motor speed with 4-inch diameter wheels, and we chose the big wheels in order to get over the bar easier to score in the 20-point zone.
For our mobile goal intake, we have one strength motor with a gear ratio of 1:5, and then we also put a little hook in the back to ensure that when the mobile goal comes in, that it locks in to make sure that it does not fall out when we're driving around.
So for our lift, we decided to do a double reverse 4-bar instead of doing like a scissor lift because we found this to be the most efficient and the lightest option. And we used a triangle rubber banding system on the lift, so it gives unified tension as the lift moves up, which takes stress off of the motors. And since our lift, we only have 2 motors on the lift, so it's kind of slow. We make up for it in our 4-bar, which is 2-motor, 1-3 turbo. So with the turbo motors, we can stack extremely fast with the 4-bar. And then our speed is also increased by our intake. So we use a roller intake with rubber bands to intake the cones, and we're using this because we found it really fast to just be able to drop onto the cones and have it immediately intake. And what's also good about the roller intake is that it has such a consistent drop, so we can drop from any height and it'll let you drop straight down onto the mobile goal.
So as for our robot capabilities, we're able to stack 13 cones high and pick up mobile goals, and then once we have the mobile goals, we're able to pick up cones. And we're able to do this as consistently as possible, utilizing a variety of different sensors and further creating complicated programs which runs these sensors. One such example is on the 4-bar. We have 2 potentiometers, and what this does is it allows us to maintain 2 different positions of the 4-bar up and down. And another such example is having a gyro and 2 quad-string coders on a drive base. And what this does is it allows for the most consistent and clean drive-based programs in autonomous.
So for our engineering notebook, we try to maximize our efficiency by assigning tasks to all our team members, so everyone has a job to do. And as you can see, we made a Gantt chart planning out our whole season, so we know at the different places we should be at different periods. Next, we use field tests. In field tests, we use these so we can better determine how the field objects interact with each other. So we tried stacking the cones on the mobile goals to see how many could land at a certain height. And we also use the design process. Here we are prototyping different mechanisms. so we can see how they work with the rest, how they would work on our robot, and to see how they would work compared to other different mechanisms. To compare these mechanisms, we use the matrices, and there's different categories in the matrices to compare them and see which would be the best mechanism.
As a team, we really understand the importance of STEM, and we like to share that with the rest of the community. So we are very focused on community service, and one of the things we do locally is that we help at Art Fest, which is a local festival that promotes STEM. Another thing we do is Game Changers, which is a program to help underprivileged kids, and we bring them to our school to help them and introduce them to the aspects of STEM. And globally, one of our former teammates moved to Cambodia, and there she found out there was a lack of interest in STEM and even a lack of interest in robotics. And we really wanted to help her out to spread the interest, so we decided to start the Cambodia project.
In Cambodia, only 20% of college graduates graduate in the field of STEM compared to 40% worldwide. This is due to the lack of expertise and interest there is in Cambodia. As a team, to solve this issue, we decided to make instructional booklets of robotics to promote the STEM. In addition, we plan to Skype call their students to help them verbally and fundraise locally to help promote STEM.
So as a team, freshman year, we weren't able to compete in any tournaments because we didn't really understand back because it was our first year, and we had some trouble just understanding like the basic mechanisms. And then last year we started building our first robot, and we were able to compete in our first tournament, which was last year, which was our sophomore year. And this was as we got more successful and we competed in more tournaments, we grew more passionate and we started to have a lot more fun in robotics. So last year we qualified for the US Open and we competed in the Open division and we were very successful. And so this year we were very passionate, and our love for robotics has grown throughout our team. And we had a goal of qualifying for Worlds in the US Open, which we have achieved. And we're very excited to compete in the US Open again this year. So thank you for watching our video.